Okay, let's take you back now to our coverage of the AGAO Forum, which is on the go in Nasrec, and that's where President Cyril Ramaphosa will be delivering the keynote address this morning. This act, you will remember, it gives countries, African countries, duty-free access to United States markets. Let's speak now to our colleague who's part of the team at Nasrec, Ziyanda Ngcobo, live for us there. Ziyanda, good morning to you. So the United States speaking over the last 24 hours on this particular forum, and they are clear that they are committed to a quote-unquote seamless AGOA renewal. But on the African front, our minister here of competition and trade and industry, he's clear that let's not just send rocks to these international markets, but let's send products that are going to ensure that we benefit. Are we taking full advantage of that?
And as I speak to you, President Cyril Ramaphosa is still conducting that heritage walk at the AGOA forum, a part of that Made in Africa exhibition. And there are many people who are looking to see how they can also benefit from the AGOA agreement. One such sector is the tech sector. And let's speak to Google South Africa about their contribution. You're one of the sponsors of this event. And let's talk about, from a tech perspective, what opportunities are there for entities such as Google South Africa in the U.S. market? Because it's not like you are not already everywhere, and also in terms of boosting other small tech companies.
Thanks, Ziyanda. I think from our perspective as Google, first and foremost, it's important to acknowledge that 20 years ago when AGOA first came into being, tech was really a small segment of the markets. And when we're talking about trade, we were not really talking about the various policies and taxes and how we enable the growth of a tech startup. So for us as Google, it's important to be here because we want the leaders from both Africa as well as the US to start looking at that, focusing at that, and seeing that the renewal of the AGOA agreement considers the value that tech is bringing into the economy and how we can improve the trade relations between the two corners. And our involvement as Google is not really on Google as a company selling our products, which obviously is important for us, but also how do we enable the growth of the tech startup ecosystem in Africa. It would be great that in 5 years' time when we come back here, we have a corner of tech startups that are talking about the products that they've developed, be it in fintech or health tech, that is being exported to global markets. So for us, it's important to enable the small companies that are also here to access new markets using new technologies, but also facilitate the growth of the tech ecosystem in Africa.
And when we talk about the ecosystem, you're not necessarily insulated from the things that are happening outside of your own industry or even at governmental levels, across the continent. Going into the summit, what were the concerns of tech companies such as Google South Africa regarding issues of geopolitical tensions? I mean, it's even affecting the markets. And what does it feel like now being here as South Africa hosts AGOA?
Well, I think for us, similar to other sectors, actually, you'd be amazed to see the similarities in terms of the concerns. When we talk about enabling digital transformation in Africa, one of the things that we have to talk about is how do we improve access to technological technologies by ordinary citizens and various industries. And we can't do that when we have $100 billion deficit in infrastructure. So one of the concerns that we have is how do we ensure that there's foreign direct investment for infrastructure, digital infrastructure investment in Africa, as well as local investment and local partnerships by government. So our concerns are about how do we ensure that we minimize the risks when it comes to those infrastructure investments that need to be made by the tech sector, And when we talk about minimizing the risks, it's about levies, tariffs, customs duties, harmonization. I think harmonization is something that has been said by various sectors. How do we harmonize the trade rules for Africa as well as the US? And those conversations are just as important in the tech sector. And then another aspect that would somehow fit into the geopolitical conversations is on the data privacy. Data privacy is a big issue in tech. How do we make sure that we have a harmonized data and privacy regulatory framework for Africa as well as in the US? Globally, that would be an ideal standard, but we understand that geopolitically there may be different views depending on which part of the world you're coming from. So from us as Google, we always say a harmonized framework is great. So Africa coming together here and talking about what are these trade rules, we hope that some of the trade issues or the policy concerns and the regulatory concerns that we have as the tech sector come to the fore as well.
It would be remiss of me to let you go without asking about the recent report by the South African Competition Commission, which has basically found that US, Google and other big tech companies are anti-competitive and make it difficult for other small tech companies to get into the industry, even going as far as saying that you should improve your product offering and perhaps even invest as much as almost $20 million into assisting these small tech apps. What's your reaction to that?
Well, your summary, Ziyanda, may be a bit misleading. I don't think the Competition Commission has found any uncompetitive behavior, but they have said that there are certain aspects that we need to look at as a business to see how we can grow the visibility and e-commerce sector in South Africa, particularly for the small businesses that you see here, to ensure that there's greater visibility. And as Google, from the start of the process, we've been cooperative and we have accepted the recommendations, and we are working with the Competition Commission to review some of the product offerings on our platforms to ensure that there's greater visibility. So as a company, we have we've cooperated with the process that has been put together by the Commission.
All right, that's Ms. Abongile Mashele. She is from Google South Africa, and she's a senior manager looking, of course, at public policy and government affairs. So lots of moving parts here, Xoli, and we anticipate that the President will be speaking and delivering that keynote address at 10:15.
Ngcobo live for us there at Nasrec, the Expo Center, and that's the venue of the AGAO Forum taking place.